Hey, South Carolina's math and history, and we're going to be taking a look at what makes a function a linear function. So in this video, what we're going to be taking a look at is what the kind of functions are on a graph, and we're also going to explain what makes them a linear function. So let's start with this one. So, what do you think this function is? Type in the comments below what you think this function is. And yes, this is called a linear function because the word linear describes that the function or line on a graph is completely straight. It doesn't matter what direction it is. It could be down, could be horizontal, could be diagonal, it could be both, whatever. What it really cares about, or what it means is, a linear function must have a line on a graph that's completely straight. Linear functions are one of the first types of functions that your teacher may teach to you when you start learning about functions in algebra. And linear functions are also really good at y equals mx plus b. This is what you call slope-intercept form. And what you insert in for x or y is what we get as a result. And usually it will become a linear function. Here's an example.
The rocket is launching in 1 minute.
We gotta hurry.
You guys need a ride?
Don't wanna get through, man.
We got company.
So that's an example of a linear function, a line that's directly straight. Now let's move on to the next function. So, here is our next function. What do you think it is? Type in the comments below what you think this function is. And yes, this is called a quadratic function. And it's in the shape of a parabola. A parabola is a curved shape on a graph that looks just like this. And if you ever want to find the slope for that, your slope is going to be x squared because you can insert a number on a positive number, like a positive 3, and you can also insert a negative number, like negative 3, and you would still get your y. And a quadratic function and a parabola will relate to the quadratic formula, but we'll talk about this a bit later in another video. Here's an example of a quadratic function, or a slope of x squared.
Let's go.
So that's an example of a quadratic function used with coin physics from Mario. Let's move on to this kind of function. So you might think that this is a linear function because this one has straight lines just like a linear function. But the thing is, the amount of functions and the amount of slopes that you see on a graph will affect the type of function that you name it. When you have multiple functions on a graph, this is going to be called a piecewise function. It's a type of function that has multiple lines and slopes. If it's only one line, then it's going to be a linear or a nonlinear function. If it has a bunch of lines on a graph, then we'll call it a piecewise function. Piecewise functions are really good at having more than one slope and calculating their slope and what their function is for x. So we will say that f of x is going to equal the slope of the red line, the slope of the green line, and the slope of the blue line, because its ability is to calculate more than one slope or a function at a time. Here's an example of a piecewise function. Piecewise functions are really good at telling stories to a word problem just by making multiple lines on a graph. We'll explain about that in our next video. Piecewise functions in real life. So yeah, we did it! We have now learned what a linear function is, what a quadratic function is, and a piecewise function. That is the 3 types of functions on a graph. Thank you for watching Tao Penguin's Math Industry. Like and subscribe. And comment what your favorite type of function is.